Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart of the Matter. I'm Susan Smith, your host. Heart of the Matter is a broadcast series where I bring on guests who are survivors. They share their story, tell us what they learned, and give us inspiration to live the healthiest life we can. I realized when I'm interviewing these people and recording them and putting them out on social media that no one's going to interview me. I'm not going to tell my story, so I'm doing it now on my own. So the idea is to remind you that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. It takes the lives of 1 in 4. 48 million women are affected by heart disease in the United States. So I bring on a guest, I ask them to tell their heart story, and I ask them these questions. I ask them what emotions did they feel afterwards? What lifestyle changes did they make? What did they learn about themselves after diagnosis? And lastly, what advice to women do they have about heart disease? So let's see if I can do what they have done so beautifully. That is tell their story and answer those questions in 15 minutes. I had a heart attack in 2018 on a day that I was so busy. It was my busiest day of the week. I had a long to-do list. I had places to be and things to do and people to take care of. And that was my life. I loved being busy. I was in charge of all the projects because I did it so well. I liked the busyness. It gave me a little buzz. It gave me some energy to get everything done. I've talked to people that thrive on this. So on this day, I was running out the door. I had too many things to do, but something wasn't right. I had a pinching sensation in my collarbone. I was short of breath, lightheaded, and fatigued. I was so tired that every day I had to rest. It was very fatiguing. I thought these were inconvenient, annoying things that would go away. I had an excuse for every one of them, and I just needed for them to dissipate. So by the next day, I'd been feeling these for a couple of weeks, and by the next day, they got worse. I was in a grocery store shopping for a workshop I was putting on the next day, and some cookies fell to the floor that I wanted to buy. And when I leaned down to pick them up, I knew that I would faint if I bent all the way down. So I left them there, got out of the store. I was fearful that they would call 911 while I was in the cookie aisle. So I go home, I call my primary care doctor, and hopefully he can take care of this. His receptionist said he's out of town. I said, who can I see? She said to me, it sounds like you need to see a cardiologist or go to the emergency room. And I was so exasperated that I had been interrupted in my busiest day that I yelled at her and I said, I can't go to the emergency room. I have too much to do. And she said to me, you can't do anything if you're dead. That was my wake-up call. Luckily, I had a cardiologist to call. He got me in. They hooked me up to an EKG. He told me I was having a heart attack right there in his office, gave me nitroglycerin, sent me to the ER. It's 4 blocks away. They whisked me in, put me on a gurney, and I was in the cath lab within, 10 minutes. They put in a stent. The next day I had another heart attack in the hospital. They put in another stent. The next day I was just wanting to get home because I had undone projects. And he said, you can't go home because your ejection fraction is too low. I said, what's that? Ejection fraction is your EF, and that is the ability, that's how well your heart is pumping. So the damage in my heart had affected that. So they had to prescribe a defibrillator life vest. And by the time I got that and all my medications and got home, I'd been 4 days in the hospital. I got home so glad to be alive and knowing that something had to change and that something was me. I knew that I needed to change Because he told me, he said, you've got to take your meds, you've got to eat heart healthy, you have to go to cardiac rehab and exercise every day. And the last order is remove stress from your life. I said, how am I going to do that? I thrive on it. He said, you have to decide what gives you stress. What is your stress? And I learned that stress for me was doing too many things without enough time. Simple as that. I had to learn to say no. I had to stop saying yes to everything. So I created a new normal. I learned to say no. I gave up all my projects and my classes and my entrepreneur businesses. I just gave them all up because they were stressing me out. And it worked. Guess what? It worked out just fine. But every day, I mean, every week, I start to slip. I think, oh, I really want to do that. That sounds like fun. They need me to help them. I have to say no. So if I were to answer these questions, like what emotions did you feel afterward? I want to tell you that I ran the gamut, and I've since learned that that's very normal. I, number one, felt gratitude, grateful to God for saving my life and that I was alive. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I felt guilt because I had smoked in my early years of adulthood, my teens and early adulthood. I had eaten whatever I wanted. I consumed whatever I wanted. I wasn't thinking about my heart. I disregarded the fact that both my grandfathers died of heart attacks. And I guess because I was so young when it happened, I never thought about it. And I grew up in a time where no one in my family said, you need to be, watching that. So I have heart disease in my family, but didn't pay attention to it. So there was guilt around all of that. And I hadn't taken care of myself. And there was also guilt because a friend of mine died of breast cancer shortly after I was diagnosed. And I felt guilty then because I lived and she didn't, and she fought a hard battle. And so that you're just so vulnerable emotionally. And then I felt grief. I was grieving. I was grieving the life I've lost. I thought about it if I died, my family and my husband and my children, they would be so sad, and that made me sad. I grieved over that. But then I realized I was really grieving about the life I lost, the things I don't do anymore. I missed that, and I'm grieving that. So those are some of the emotions that I felt. And I still get, I still have waves of them. And people, especially now during COVID, many of us survivors are feeling anxiety and depression because that is weighing on us, because we know this. We know that we lived. We could have died. This is serious stuff, ladies. This is the number one killer of women. And I could have died and I lived. So what I believe, at first I thought, well, I'm just lucky. I thought, no, I think I'm here for a reason. So that's part of why I'm doing this. So I became a Women Heart champion. I began speaking to groups. I began writing blogs, writing articles, so that every woman I know knows the symptoms of heart attack in women, knows the preventative tips, and knows to not do what I did, which was ignore symptoms. So that's my passion, my mission. What lifestyle changes did you make? Exercise. I mean, I was slim and I'm healthy, but I wasn't exercising to benefit my heart. So exercise. I got rid of sodium. You know how hard that is? That was one of the dietary changes. Low sodium diet. It's very heart healthy. Exercise, diet, removing stress, and taking those medications. Once you pop those pills, you're not fixed forever. You've got to keep taking them. Many of us are taking medications for life to keep our hearts in rhythm. And to me, thank you for that technology. What'd you learn about yourself after the diagnosis? I learned that I was foolish and I was stubborn and that I kind of liked pushing the envelope and living on the edge, and I liked all that. But that's not very smart. It wasn't very helpful for me and my life and my family. So I was stubborn. Um, but I learned that I can make changes. I learned that I can say no. Lastly, what is my advice to women about heart disease? Oh my goodness, where to start? Know your numbers, number one. Second, know your body. In fact, you already know it. No one knows your body better than you. So if you know your body and listen to your body, and you know something's not right, if that collarbone pinching doesn't feel, that's not normal. That shortness of breath, that's not normal. So anything that doesn't feel right, bring it up, notice it, talk to your doctor about it, because you know your body, you know your best. And to be honest, I hear this word all the time is advocate, self-advocacy. So when you have these experiences and you go to the doctor, you stand up for yourself. So I hope that you enjoyed my interview of myself, and I want you to keep watching for Heart of the Matter, which you'll see on various social media platforms and on my website. And you're welcome to check it out. I've got some wonderful people on there telling their stories. So until then, I'll see you around. Stay heart healthy. Bye.